Hi, I'm Tash. Welcome to Tash's Library. Today's video is yet another recommendation video for Realmathon. Now, yes, I am in Team Enya, which I mentioned in my previous video. So today I'm going to give you some more suggestions if you are in Team Enya. And I'm going to be focusing on titles that include weather-related words. That's because this can give you 5 points towards defense, so contributes quite a lot. I'm also going to be looking at some of the other prompts that these books could potentially fulfill. However, of course, there are also personal prompts that you need to consider, such as whether you're reading it on ebook, whether it's a buddy read, whether it's a book that's out of your normal comfort zone, whether it's a new to you author, and whether you can spell your name from the cover of the book. So without further ado, let's begin. So the first book I'm going to be looking at is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. This is a dystopian fantasy novel set in London where clairvoyance is illegal. It has 553 pages, which can gain you 20 points. And of course, if you are in Enya, it is a fantasy book, so it will gain you 10 points as well. So this will give you a total of 35 points. The second book I want to talk about is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. And this is by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. And this is kind of a fantasy, but it does have some science fiction elements. But from the research I've done, it seems to fit more in the magical realism setting. So I'm going to take that as a fantasy book. It is only 213 pages, so it only gives you 10 points for length. However, it does include a source of light on it because it does have a lamp on the table, so that's 6 points. It also includes multiple POVs for 2 points and has mental health representation for 4 points. And of course, if you are in Team Enya, you should be able to gain the 10 points for fantasy. And so this gives you a whopping 37 points for a book that's just over 200 pages. I think that's a win. The third book I'm going to talk about is The Ninth Reign. This is by Jen Williams, and it is a superb book that deals with 3 main characters. One of them is a witch. The other one is a wealthy noblewoman who works as an archaeologist for ancient alien remains. And then you have an Eboran who acts as her bodyguard, and he comes from a society that is in decline due to a particular disease that has hit them. This is a fantasy, so if you're in Team Enya, you can get the 10 points for this one. It is 532 pages, which gains you 20 points for length. It is actually an underrated novel because I think it's got under 10,000 ratings on Goodreads. So this can gain you 3 points, and it is multi-POV, which gains you 2 points. So if you're in Team Enya and you read The Ninth Reign, which I highly recommend because it's one of my favorite books of all time, you can gain 40 points. And that's not including all those other personal prompts that you could potentially gather as well. Another book is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is also a very high scoring one because it's a fantasy book that gains you 10 points if you're in Team Enya. And it's a whopping 662 pages, which gains you 30 points for length. And so overall, you can gain 45 points for reading this book. And I highly recommend it if you haven't read it, because it is a superbly written novel that follows this young boy's coming of age story as he goes to a magical university to become a magician. It is beautiful. Another book that can gain you fairly decent points for a fairly low page count is Stormfront by Jim Butcher. This is the first in the Dresden Files series. And if you're in Team Enya, you can gain 10 points for reading this because it's urban fantasy. And it's 336 pages, which gains you 10 points. So yes, it's only 25 points, but it's a really fun, quick read. So it's a good way to build some points. A book that does gain a lot more points than that is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This, once again, is a fantasy book that covers the end of the world. So basically there's been an apocalyptic event and you're following these characters trying to survive in this world. It's 468 pages, which gains you 20 points. The author uses initials, so you got N.K. Jemisin, so that's 4 points. It's multi-POV, 2 points. And it includes a map, which is 1 point. So you can gain 42 points for reading this book if you're in Team Enya. Now, I'm also going to give some honorable mentions just to assist my fellow Realmers who are in Team Ilma. And I know this is very, very generous of me, but I do love my sci-fi, and I figured that it's probably quite helpful to have a look at some weather-related terms in titles there as well. So I've got Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and this is 576 pages, which would gain you 20 points. It's multi-POV, which is 2 points. And of course, if you're in Team Ilma and you count it as a sci-fi book, then you gain 10 points. So this can give you a total of 37 points. Also, if you're in Team Ilma, you can read Windhaven by George R.R. Martin and Lisa Tuttle. And this is a sci-fi book that looks at the struggle between tradition and rebellion. It is 315 pages, which can gain you 10 points. It is sci-fi, so if you're in Ilma, you can gain your 10 points for reading within your genre. And it, of course, uses author initials for 4 points. So this will give you a total of 29 points. Not that high, but, you know, it's a pretty short little book and it does have the word wind in it. Another one, if you're in Ilma, you could read a really short book, Fahrenheit 451. Fahrenheit, of course, can be used to describe temperature. So I think that's weather related. And this, of course, is a dystopian novel by Ray Bradbury that looks at censorship. So it's only 243 pages, so it's short, but still gains you 10 points. And it does have some mental health rep for 4 points. And this has a source of light, because of course it has a flame, and that's worth 6 points. So in total, this book is worth 35 points. And that's it. Those are some suggestions for weather-related words in titles. I know it can be quite a tricky prompt to fulfill, and therefore I just thought I'd give you some ideas. Thank you for watching, and until I see you next time, take care.